All right. Well, welcome everyone. I'm Shirley Carswell, and I'm the Executive Director of the Dow Jones News Fund. We are very happy to have you at our first test prep session of the season. And we had yesterday an information session that was more general, just providing information about our programs, about the application process, and about a little bit about the test. But today's session is really focused on the test, which is a required part of the application. And Heather Taylor, who is our program manager and social media manager, will take it over and give you some real life examples. Of course, we're not going to give you the test, but we'll give you some samples from previous tests and answer hopefully any questions you have about it. So Heather, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. So I'm going to start with just showing you a little bit about the platform. If you were here last night, you already saw this part of the presentation, but we're going to go through that again and then show you some tools that you can use to study for the test. So I am going to start with share my screen. So do you guys see my email box? So after you apply, I will manually send you a link to take the test, and it'll come from a platform called HireVue. So key thing about manually is that if you apply over the weekend, I won't get to it till Monday. So you should get the test within 24 hours of applying, or 72 the longest. So here you would go and take the test. So, I got to turn off my camera. The first thing is you need to have a camera and a microphone. Stop my video. Wait, I might fail the first time now. Okay, hold on.
Heather, while you're waiting, you want to talk about the time they have from the time they get the link?
Yeah, so we ask that you take the test within 72 hours or 3 days of getting the link in your email box. But we're not very strict right now. Like I've been getting emails from students saying, I have a final this week. Can I wait till the weekend to take it? And yes, that's fine. The application deadline is November 5th. So the test deadline will be November 8th, and we will be strict about that. But I do advise you to try to get the test taken as soon as possible, because we will not review your application unless you take the test. So we don't want it to fall off your plate. You forget, you get caught up in other things. We recommend try to just wrap it up as soon as possible. So that's why we say take it within 3 days. So let's try again. There we go. So first, you're going to be able to practice if you want to make sure your controls work. I'm going to skip the practice session, but this is just to make sure your camera can do the video and the audio. Now, it's something to remember with the test is that you can, with the video question, and there's only one on this test, is that you only get one chance to record it. So when you begin, you're going to have 2 minutes to prepare your answer. And this is not the same question we asked, but it's along similar lines. You know, this video is an opportunity for us to get to know you and to know about your aspirations in journalism. So you could think about what you might want to talk about in this video beforehand. And so this is the prep time, and then you can hit start. And you will have 2 minutes to respond, and you only get one chance to record the video. Some things to keep in mind: you don't feel like you need to stretch out what you say to fill the full 2 minutes. You know, say your piece, say what you want, and then you can always hit done recording. If for some reason it goes out, your internet goes out, and you don't get to record the video, you know, I can reset a new link so you can start over again. So don't stress about that. In the event that your internet was not working correctly, and when we're processing these, and if I see your video didn't record, I will email you and say, hey, do you want another opportunity to re-record your intro video? But it should work fine. Most of them did. We only had a couple hiccups last year. So then you hit done recording. Just some notes for the video, don't be stressed out about it. It's just an opportunity for us to meet you, get to know your personality, learn about what you want to do in journalism. And yeah, you don't need to be dressed fancy and like in a business suit. We don't care about the background per se, but we did want to show you it because I know last year we had an applicant who didn't realize there was gonna be a video question. All of a sudden she was jumping into her closet to try to hide from like all of her roommates who were in the room. And we don't want you to have to do that. We want you to be comfortable and prepared to go on camera. And we also had someone last year who took the test or did this video without a shirt on. So definitely have a shirt on. Those are two big key pieces of information. So now we're gonna go into the actual tests. There's 5 other sections now. So the first section is the longest. It is 30 questions and you're gonna have 30 seconds for each question. Some of them are different. Some of them give you a minute, but it's a mix of current events, geography, identifying public figures, AP style, and grammar questions. And so these are not open book. You're not supposed to have your AP style book. We don't want you Googling the answers. We try to prevent that from happening. So you just have to take a deep breath and you can begin. And if you guys want, you can shout out the answers as we go if you know them. I'm gonna. So I'm just Australia is correct. So you notice here it says done answering. So if I don't hit done answering, this question will not get logged. So you must hit done answering to register your selection. If I hit Australia, but I didn't hit that button, I wouldn't get the points for that question. So then, as you see, there was a pause there. So you can take a break in between. Oh, wait, here we go. Hit next. Anyone want to jump in and answer?
You're on.
Yes. I know it's hard. It was 2020 seems like a lifetime ago. So the news, hopefully the news from 2021 will be more current in your heads. This is where I say my number 1 tip is to Google top stories of 2021 and familiarize yourselves. We don't try to trick you with like obscure facts. Like we do try to think of major public figures or major breaking news that's been, front page news throughout the news cycle. So that's major tip number 1 is just Google the top stories of 2021 and realize that we probably finished this test was finalized in August. So you're really looking from January to August top headlines of the year. And hopefully nothing really big changed. That was always a scare, when we ask about a public official, that always could change within a month, but hopefully all this stuff stays the same. So here we go, another question. One, she was reporting on the lynchings of African Americans. That was an honorary Pulitzer that she was given in 2020. So now we're going to go to the next one. Now, I'm just going to show you something. Let's say your internet goes out. Oh my God, the test. Oh my God, what just happened? The internet goes out, something, or maybe you got a call and you had to run and you couldn't complete the test. It's okay. All you need to do is later on when you have internet or where the emergency has passed or whatever you need to do passed, just go back into the email that original email we sent you from HireVue. You take the test and it will bring you back to where you were. So here we go. It says we're at 3 of 30 for this first section. So while we're going on this, I'm just going to show you, if you go to our website, you guys can still see my screen, right? As I switch tabs, yes.
Yes.
If you go to the programs page, and then just over here on the left, we have something called practice tests. This is this page. You can actually download all these questions that I'm showing you as blank. Fill it out, go through it, as you see fit. So first 10 questions were all we're all about current events. Then these are current events, but then they're tied to a state. So we actually show you a map, and I'll skip ahead so you can see what that looks like. But we show you a map and you have to identify the state. So knowing where all 50 states are located could be very helpful for you for getting these questions right. And then these go into the next set of questions go into AP style and grammar. So you see it's a lot of words that are commonly mistaken. So you might want to look up, try to get some, go through some of those. What are some commonly mistaken words? This one is numbers. So look up AP style for numbers. We always have some AP style numbers questions. You know, that's money, dates, ages, years, lengths, widths, you know, anything that numbers, you might want to just freshen up your knowledge of AP style for those. These are more grammar, more public figures. These last ones were photos of people, and we asked you to identify who that person was. And so let me just, we'll take a pause here from this. I'll just go through really quickly so you can see what the map looks like in the public figures. I wish I was able to more easily jump from question to question, but I have to just go through it. And I know a common complaint was all the clicking I'm doing. You know, students were like, I have to click in between every question, but it's the way the platform is. So it'll look a little bit design-wise differently, but this is the same map of the United States. So you would read the question, and then try to identify where the state is, and then quickly find it over here of where it is located. I'm not doing these I'm not answering them correctly, but just so you can see. I'm going to skip ahead so you can see some other types of questions. So this is where we get into grammar questions. And I'll also suggest for grammar questions, we have going back here all the way to how many years? 2012 or 2014. I would find the editing tests. These editing tests in 2012, 13, 14 are going to have a lot of grammar and AP style questions, and they'll be good places to start. I don't know, do I have the editing? I guess I don't have the key. Maybe the keys are in there. I haven't looked at these in a while. Sorry, this is the old test. So I guess I don't. I'll have to look and see if I have a key anywhere. This is what the test used to look like when they were on paper. So, but those would be good places to start. Looking at these old editing tests to go through and use those as background. Go back to higher view. Okay, so now this is what it looks like for when we do the ID public officials. we'll give you, sometimes we'll say, who is this person? Sometimes we'll give you a clue. This person's, on the Supreme Court. Each question is different on how we identify them. But you would have to, William Barr. They're people who are in the news and who have been on TV, usually. So they shouldn't be too hard. They were people who made news that year. In that case, that was Bezos, and it was asking about what companies he owns. So it was trying to make that connection. And all right, we finished end of section 2. So now the next 4 sections are each devoted to each of our programs. So we have a editing section, a digital media, a business reporting, and a business reporting and data journalism. The thing to keep in mind with this is that if, let's say you're applying for the editing program and you bomb the business section, it's okay. It will not hurt you. We score each of these sections differently to come up with your sum total. The first section does apply to everyone's score because we do want everyone to be news consumers and be aware of what's happening in current events. We expect you to have basic understanding of AP style and have strong grammar and writing skills. So section 1 applies for all scores. And then so these next sections are only for each program that we're trying to assess your familiarity with some of the key concepts and terms. And what was I gonna add about this? Anyway, we'll go through it.
So I think in the chat, there was a question about that. So I just mentioned that you have to take all 4 parts, even if you're only interested in one of them. Okay.
That's what I was forgetting. I knew something was in my head I was about to say, and I couldn't remember what it was. So you must get through all 4 sections. We will not get to see your score on anything unless you complete the test. So I'll show you what it looks like. We'll just pan through quickly. But so for each section, there's about 8 or 9 questions. And so the first couple will be multiple choice, and the last one will be an open-ended question. And I think this year we stuck in a question explaining. So these are the digital media questions. So you want to be familiar maybe with common tools and skills, concepts. Going back to our old tests is a great way to see what kind of questions we ask around digital media. Think about, how do we verify accuracy? What are some of the common programs that are used in digital media content creation? Social media questions. So these are some of the type of things we might ask. Some of these also might be multiple answer, which I haven't been reading the questions. Some of these might be, you can select more than one. Okay, so this is the first open-ended. For all of the sections, I give you 10 minutes. And it's not because you need 10 minutes. I just don't want you to be stressed about answering the question. We want you to have enough time that you can comfortably answer it. It's not meant to be, timing you on it. So you can put whatever you want. What are some techniques or tools to engage readers? We don't ask the exact same thing in this year's test, so each of these are different, but very similar concepts that we ask about. So here, what would be some tools you could use as a digital content producer to increase and engage readers, and think about what those tools are.
Can I just interject here that on the open-ended questions, spelling counts and punctuation count. You don't have to necessarily write a complete sentence, but it should be correctly spelled and punctuated. Should be no typos.
Yeah, this is a reflection of you and your product of what you're putting out there. So, it should be writing well and putting your thoughts together. So that was the end of that section. So now we go into, I forget which one's next. Oh, more edit. This is the editing. So you get to read this really fast and then figure out which headline best goes with this story. So for editing, it's more questions about headline writing, usage, content, what would be a note to the reporter from an editor, those type of things. And again, all these questions are on that one document on our website. So apologies if you're trying to read them all and answer them in the moment. So well, this was something, it's not in this year's test, but this was ordering things in the order. So you would, put them in the order. I could always do it next year, So you put them as they appeared in a vertical story. So here's one that select all that apply. So you would click as many as you want. So I'm just going to keep going. How to write titles, that's something good when you're refreshing up your AP style. How to write titles, books, references. Okay. So you notice just there was a little bit of a lag in it opening. That would be something like if your computer's having trouble loading, because all these questions are on JPEG images that have been uploaded. So if your computer's having trouble loading these, I would X out of the test and wait till you have a better internet connection to try to take it if it's not loading properly. So this is read the article and then provide a print headline and a tweet. So you might say, this is my headline, the headline, and then here's my tweet. So we know what is what. All right, now we are in business reporting. So knowing key figures in the business world, knowing key concepts, maybe some math for journalists might come in here. So just trying to skip to the end so we could get through everything and could see when it's finished. Oh, I went to okay. Oh, so this was a question about sort of what the news gathering steps were. So basically you're presented a press release. What would you do to help report the story? Because a lot of our business reporters, that is what you're doing on day one at an internship. Like you're in there and they're saying, go cover this event, go cover the opening of this business. And so this was sort of testing your ability to go gather information. Okay, so I think this is the last section. This is the data. Okay. And then, so this was, what would be a story you'd pitch in relation to this infographic that was released by CDC, your editor? So, blah, 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 blah. Okay, So your answer has been submitted. Now we go here and thank you. Dow Jones News Fund has received your submission. There's no further action. So you're finished the test. That's what you will see when you're done the test and we have it and we hit done. Now this survey, just X out of it. We don't control it. We can't disable it. This is something that HireVue gives you guys. So just X out of it. We don't see it. We don't know who fills it out. So don't worry about that HireVue survey that automatically pops up. Now let me just share with you a couple other resources for studying. So what I would do say first is take last year's test and see where your weaknesses are. Do you need to bone up on, maybe you have AP style down great. Maybe you need to work on your grammar. Maybe you know AP style and grammar really well, but you need to work on your current events. So let me just show you some tools that you can use for the different sections. So one is this weekly quiz by the New York Times. They're a great resource. I would focus on, this summer 2021 and below for the year. Those would be great places to start. So I will stick, let me stick these links into the chat while we go. And you can bookmark them if you want. The next, okay, so this website was developed by one of our test monitors years ago, as you can tell by how dated it looks. But it's Edit Teach. And this was designed to help, and it even has our old name, Dow Jones Newspaper Fund. That's how old it is. But this was designed to help prepare for the editing test. And so it still has a lot of good information. I have been clicking around and noticed some broken links, but I think some of it is still good in here. So I'm gonna, here we go, stick this in there. I think some AP style, some of this stuff might still be good. I'm not sure, but you can click around and look and see what they say. There's this. As I shared with you guys before, this is the test, our previous test page. Let me put that in. Some other places might be the IRE website. Since they do data journalism, if you want to prepare for the data journalism. But I think that covers it. I mean, all these sources are going to be your best bets, along with just familiarizing yourself with current events. Oh, and AP style quizzes. I think if you Google, let me see if I can find. There used to be, let me see if this is the site. There was a site that had tons of them. This might be it. Anyway, Google some AP style quiz things and stop share. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should add. Shirley, do you have anything to add? I will say one thing I forgot to say is the test doesn't make or break whether or not you get in the program. There have people who have done very bad on the test and then got a great internship through us because we saw in their resume their experience in the newsroom or at previous internships. Same side, we've had people who got excellent scores, but then we saw they lacked experience, and so they weren't selected. So, don't stress out about it. Just try to do your best. It's just one data point we're looking at along with a bunch of other things. So yeah, just do your best and don't try to stress out. Shirley, sorry.
No, that's okay. In terms of the other things though, it's important to show us some samples of your work. So when you apply, there will be a place to upload your clips or headlines or whatever it is that you have to show us your work. And so I would say that's just as important as the test. Be sure that you let us know all relevant experience you have. So whether that experience is on a campus news outlet, whether it's the community newspaper, whether it's your church newsletter, whatever you have experience, whatever media experience you have, be sure to highlight that for us. And, I think the essay is a part of the application as well. A question that you'll be asked and you'll have to answer. Is it 500 words, Heather?
Yeah, no more than 500. So
Yeah. So, again, that's your chance to show us your writing, show us your creativity, your storytelling ability. And so I would think, don't just get so focused on the test that you ignore all those other things, because those are all part of the package. And so we want to see that as well.
yeah, one of the questions that just came up was number of clips. So previous years, we only asked of clips for those who are going into the business reporting program. And we asked for 3 to 5 clips of stories that you wrote, single byline stories that you wrote. This is the first year we're actually asking for work samples for everyone, not just those interested in business reporting, because we want to see, you have probably projects you've worked on that you're really proud of that you want to share with us. And we want to see it because it helps inform to us what you'd be able to go do potentially in a newsroom. So there's no rule for like the data and the digital and the editing program of the number that we want to see. We just want, put your best foot forward, if you're an editor, it's sort of hard to showcase your work, but maybe there are some pages you've designed. Maybe there's headlines you've written. Maybe you had a print headline and then this was the SEO headline. Those are things that would be valuable to communicate to us that you know how to do.
The other thing I would say,
Yeah.
sorry, Heather. The other thing I would say for editing that I think it is hard to show your work, but if you had like a really good catch, right? You caught some big error in a story or something that was really obscure, but you caught it. Tell us about that. I mean, I would just type up a little paragraph and say, this story, came over with XYZ in it, and I was the only one who saw that it had DGF or, something like that. Could be as simple as that to help show us that what editing is about.
Captions on photos, because that's a big part of an editing internship. So maybe you wrote the captions for photos. So I was on a presentation day with a school, and the professor there was recommending that they do track changes, show an article where they've done track changes, because that's how they do it in their newsroom, where they use like a Google Drive. So you can actually see and highlight. And I said, that's great. And then like PDF that, so it doesn't get edited or changed. So we could see the track changes. For the data journalism internships, you might want to showcase a data visualization you did, maybe you have a GitHub portfolio. You can share with us the link to that. Coding, they suggested, maybe share some coding. Maybe that would be helpful. For the digital media, you could create one document and put links to either videos, articles, whatever you want for digital media. I want to go overboard. 3 to 5 is what we said for business reporting. And I think the same thing could be said for all the other programs, like 3 to 5. You really don't need to go more for that. Some of the questions that came up is, what if you worked on a group project? If that is the case, you need to make clear what your role in that project was. What did you do? If you're sharing like a link to a group project, what was your role in it? And what did you do? Same thing I would say try not to share stories where it's a co-byline, because we really want something where it stands on its own that you did it. But if you do only have co-byline stories, make clear that we know, like, did you do the reporting and the news gathering, or did you do a bulk of the writing? Let us know what your role was in that piece. One test.
Also, sometimes it's important for us in our matching process to know your geographical familiarity. So, I think there's a question in the application that asks you, like, what states are you familiar with, or where have you lived previously, or something like that. But if you have like a really unusual growing up where you lived in different places, or you're very familiar with, where your grandmother lives, but you're not from there, that could also be helpful for us to know as we try, because some news organizations ask for people who are local or who know their area, right? So that would be helpful for us. So anything you think could be helpful to getting you in the door, I would say go for it. I see Cindy has
Cindy?
her hand up.
I had a question about the work samples. So like if we let's say like we were interning at a company, we wrote a like report for the company, but it wasn't journalism per se. Is that something we could submit, or is that are you looking more for like journalistic pieces?
It was for a professional internship at a company
Yeah,
versus
but
it. Yeah,
it was like a white paper for a company.
I definitely think you could submit that. It would show your writing that you have strong writing skills. Make sure you send us the whole document. Sometimes people send us the link, they'll send us one sheet with just links to stories they wrote, and then we can't get behind a paywall or see. So, or if that was like a white paper for a professional company and they sell it, you want to make sure that you're putting in the full context of those articles so we can see them. So yeah, I think that's relevant. Aaron, previously known
Hey.
as AJ.
Yeah, sorry I'm showing up late. The time zone difference kind of threw me off again. Anyway, so I was gonna ask, so I am taking, I guess general question is, does applying earlier give me a better chance? I'm taking an investigative reporting class right now, and this week I'll be working on a new investigation. And so I almost want to complete that before, so that way it could be a part of my application, if that makes sense. It would be done by next week or so it wouldn't be too long. But does applying earlier give me a better chance, or would it be okay to go ahead and finish that and then apply?
Yeah, we don't look at anything until after November 5th. Honestly, we start looking at stuff really in serious end of November.
Okay.
Because it's such a long process to compile all the data from all the applications. So you just are doing me a favor if you submit earlier. But in terms of your chances, it does not impact that at all.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I would say definitely wait and get those investigative pieces.
Mhm.
Other questions, comments?
If you miss, oh wait, Aaron, did you have another question, or is that hand from previous? No. So that sort of wraps up the test prep part. But if for those who weren't able to join us last night, if you had questions about the rest of the application or just the process in general about the trainings, I'd be happy to answer them now for you, or any of the programs.
Also, just remember that you can apply for all of the programs. You don't have to just pick one, right? So if you can't decide, you say, oh, I think I want to do business reporting, but I also think I'm pretty strong as the editor. Apply for both, right? It doesn't hurt you.
Mhm.
If we do apply for more than one track, should we submit separate work samples for each, or a separate or like should we mention that in our personal essay in any way?
I don't think you
Yeah,
can.
what do you think? I don't know, it's
I was
hard.
gonna say, I don't think they can. They can't attach more than one, one file, right?
Yeah, so the attachments for work samples is one attachment. So you're going to have to combine everything into one PDF. So it is fine to say, these are my business reporting clips. This is my data file. This is my digital media content. This is my submission. If you want to, if you have that breadth of work, please do share. Maybe like we had just hit the gold mine.
Yeah. But I would say
usually,
don't, but even with that, don't go overboard. Like if
don't go
you're gonna
overboard.
apply for all 4 programs, then don't give us 5 samples for each program, right? Just give us maybe 2, or, just moderation. Pick your best.
And if you have like a website or a LinkedIn, you can, I frequently, when we have, especially for like the digital media applicants, I'll go and look at your website and I could see all your other stories. I know a lot of interns have also used, I forget what programs, but there's like Linktree or something where it'll link to like all your online portfolio. So that can be helpful too. So you could say, here are 2 selections I've picked, but go to this link to read like more stories I've written or something like that.
I also had one more question, which was just like, if we don't have as much, like if we haven't done like a formal journalism internship in the past, and we don't have as much experience, I guess, in general, like are there areas of our application we can focus on to show how we might still like be a good fit?
Do you have student newsroom experience?
I have a little bit, but I've never, like, I haven't worked on the staff of a student newspaper for extended amounts of time.
Okay, but you did talk about working, you did a report for a for-profit company. And that is something when you're doing your resume, think about those other experiences you had that gave you journalistic skills. We were talking earlier this summer on a panel with someone from Wall Street Journal, and they were talking to someone who, when their internship fell through during the pandemic, they became a contact tracer for COVID. And it was just like, that's actually skills that a journalist use, cold calling people, tracking people down. Like that's a way to spin it. So I think of what experiences you do have and what soft skills, what hard skills they gave you that make you a better journalist. When we're doing the selection process, we're given a job description from the media company of what they're looking for. So we're really just scouring resumes, reading your resumes, like, does this person have the skills that they're looking for so they could jump into this role on day one? So think about maybe some bullet points of what you did, what programs are you familiar with, which ones like do you use, especially like data journalism. I know some of those students have never had any journalism experience. They've always been in like the computer science world, and now they're jumping into journalism. And so they're showcasing maybe some of the programs they know, or projects they've worked on that were more computer sciencey. So I hope it helps answer.
Thank you.
And your essay, focus on that essay, right?
Yeah. Megan.
Yeah, so let's say like you only check off like one or two to apply for, but let's say like on the exam, like we do better for like one we didn't apply for, and like you kind of like would you say like you would consider us for like other things that we didn't say we wanted? Okay.
Yeah, this year we had several, so our largest program is business reporting, and we get the least number of applicants for business reporting. So this year we were pulling people from other pools and being like, I was calling them up being like, I know you applied for copy editing, but I think you'd be a great business reporter. Are you interested? And they'd be like, yes, I'd love that, So, we would call you if we think we're going to look at your materials and see if we think you could do it. But yes, we obviously, that's why I think on the application, it's not what are you applying for, it's which programs do you prefer, because we reserve the right to offer you something else.
And the we that we keep referring to is not just the two of us, but there are also the residency directors, the people who run the training programs. They also help us with the selection process. Anything else? Anybody feel better now about the test now that you've seen some of the questions? Good. That's what we were hoping for. That people would not be so intimidated, because just remember the test is just one of the points that we look at, and you have to complete all of the sections to be considered. So I know it takes a little while, probably an hour or so out of your life that you'll never get back, but if you get it, it's going to be very worthwhile, I guarantee you.
Yeah, we had some alumni take the test as practice to make sure, and they gave us feedback on it. And for all of them, it took them about 40-45 minutes, but they did not do the open-ended question. So that gives you it took about 40 minutes to do all the multiple choice. And the open-ended, you could spend 2-3 minutes on each one. So it really is like a 45-50 minute test. It'll breeze by.
Unless you do like I did, and then I kept like freezing. I just couldn't time. The countdown thing was like freaking me out. I kept focusing on how many seconds I had left. So don't focus on that, but do pay attention, because that time just zips by, and you're like reading the question, and then you look up and it's like 6 seconds left. And don't forget, you have to pick the answer and then click done. So it can be a little hairy there.
I'm going to stick my email in the chat, and you guys could anytime give me an email and we could set up a one-on-one call, or if you just want to email me a question throughout the process, happy to take questions. If there are no more questions, we can call it a night. We're going to put this recording up on our website. There's also up on our website right now the recording from last night's session, which is just, as Shirley said in the beginning, about generally over a program overview and the application process and selection process, and a little bit more of a deeper dive into the training program. So feel free to go watch that. We are hosting 2 more sessions next week that you can sign up for if you haven't already. Repeating the exact same thing you heard
Yeah,
tonight,
if you just
so.
can't get enough of us. All right. Well,
So
thank
best
you,
of luck.
guys.
Good luck.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Best
Thank
of luck.
you.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.